Welcome to the good, the Scaz and the Rugby, brought to you by Allianz in what is a massive week for women's rugby as we build up to the final of the Allianz Premier 15s at Kingsholm. The good, the Scaz and the Rugby will be there on site, and they will be joined, they being Emily Scarrett and Mike Tindall, by England and Gloucester halfback, Olympian, Commonwealth medalist, World Cup winner, person with great top bun hair, Natasha Mo Hunt. Welcome to the show.
Woo. Thank you for having me. What an introduction.
We try and make people feel welcome.
I'm half disappointed that you're not rocking some crazy scrunchie. I mean, even me, I'm going for the top bun look this week in honor of you.
This one's quite cool though. It's a Black Lives Matters one.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. It's got
can't see the detail.
Nah, sorry. I'll send you a picture later, but it's got the fist and BLM.
Strong.
And if you are watching this and you are wondering why she's just pulled the mask up over her face, she isn't sitting alone in her room. She's in a public space. And so she is going to be pulling that mask up every now and again whenever there's someone else in the vicinity. Dead giveaway. If you are listening to this on a podcast platform, you should go watch it as well. Where are you?
I actually don't know the name. Oh, the Link Hotel, I think, in Loughborough. So we're up here for Sevens camp at the minute. But yeah, it's starting to get busier. So it was just us in the hotel for a little while, and now obviously everything's opening back up. There's more public around, so yeah.
And you don't have the privacy of your own room?
So we do, but the girls are actually playing different games in the room at the minute. So we've just finished lunch and they're in there playing like this game called Tuck Tuck, which everyone's bought into, which generally gets quite rowdy. So I thought it was best not to get distracted too much.
Be honest, Mo, who leads the rowdiness?
Tomo, actually, Lisa Thompson.
Basically, Elma Mo is incredibly competitive when it comes to all games, obviously rugby, but all games as well. Anything like that. So to be fair, I never expected her to say herself, but I can guarantee she will be right up there.
Yeah, to be fair. Do you know what though? Like, I'm pretty well matched with Jazz Joyce, Lisa Thompson, who else? Rona Lloyd. Like, they're all super competitive. So it's actually really nice because it's like a little bit of like here and there all the time. So yeah, can't complain.
Is it a ball game?
It's a board game, yeah. Have you ever played Sorry? Do you know Sorry? No, it's basically like Sorry for anyone that knows what that is. That's like another really old school game. But so Helen Nelson used to play out in France, and it's like a French game that she's brought over. So they've made their own boards, which is super cool. But yeah, they've made their own boards and it's actually epic.
It's a card game as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So the cards like dictate whether you move forward or backward places. And you've got 4 pieces that you've got to get all the way around a board and get home. But if you land on someone else, you knock them home, and there's different cards that you can swap with people. So yeah, it's basically a source of all of our entertainment. It's awesome. But yeah, I'm not explaining it very well, but it is quite.
I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's great fun. On the topic of crazy competitive things happening, Emily, we need to talk about the semifinals. Now the final is a repeat of last year's final, and I talked up Loughborough Lightning's chances so much last week. Now, well, I mean, I feel like you guys gave it such a good crack that I was almost justified.
Yeah, it was a tough one. I think like all neutrals have told me it was a really great game to watch, which is obviously awesome, but there's only so many great games you can be on the wrong side of and still appreciate that they're a great game. So look, we did give it a proper crack, and I still haven't quite decided whether that's better or worse coming so close, because obviously you want to go out and you want to do yourself justice and I guess put on the field what you know you're capable of, but then when it does mean that you've come so close and not quite managed it, it's a hard one to take. But I think for us, like, it's one of the best performances we've put out all season, so I think that you have to take positives from that. I think when you actually look back at it and you look back at it quite objectively, as much as we missed opportunities, Sarries also missed opportunities. So both sides would look at it and think that they could have put more points on the board. So yeah, it's a tough one, but you've just got to keep moving on, haven't you?
Even Brian Moore wrote in the Telegraph that it was definitely a more entertaining spectacle, that and the other semi-final than the Champions Cup final. Mo, what did you make of the semis?
Yeah, they were awesome. Like, I think it was really nice to see a competitive game. Like, I know, like, I like the girls at Loughborough Lightning. I like the girls across the squad, and I felt for them because a lot of them were my teammates previously. Obviously, you've been there how many years now, Scaz? 2 years, 3 years?
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, in the semi-final. So I genuinely thought it was their year as well. So I was pretty gutted from that point of view that they couldn't do it, but also love like Packer and that from Saracens. So I'm such a neutral sitting on the fence at the minute. It's just awesome to see such a competitive game, like you said, and some of the tries, like Rona Loy's try was unbelievable. That I put that up on Insta this week, and a few Saracens people have replied to me being like, even we were celebrating that. So yeah, it's just really cool to see good rugby being played, and you want to see competitive games at the end of the day. And I know it's gutting that you're on the wrong side of it, but it was really cool for like women's sport in general to see that and see that so highly contested.
Yeah, so from some quarters, there's a bit of like, oh, it's again the Quinn Sarries final.
Yeah.
But I feel like that doesn't tell the whole story almost.
No, it's killer. Like playing for Augusta Hartbury, I'm sure Scaz, playing for Loughborough, like, yeah, it's gutting that it's the same again, because for 3 years running, like, it's more competitive than that, especially this year. Maybe not so much the last 2 years, but this year the league has been far more competitive than the story shows. And I think the fact that it's the same teams again, we're all just like, oh, come on, like, give us a break. But credit where credit's due. Like, it's awesome that they always manage to peak at the right time. They always manage to find a way. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm not sure who I'd rather win, whether I'd like a change on the trophy or whether I'd like to see Sarries lift it for the third time running. I'm kind of again on the fence with it, but yeah, it's exciting for sure.
I think it's going to be like a spicy game. I think like obviously there's some big personalities in both sides. They only managed to play one game this season, didn't they? Because the other one was called off for COVID. That was a draw. They've met in the final so many times. I think just everything is, irrelevant actually of the rugby. This game has got a hell of a billing in terms of the rest of it. So it could be, it could be a good one for the neutrals.
And it got a bit spicy last time out as well, didn't it? So looking forward to seeing it all unfold.
Competitive people going head to head.
Pity about Jess Breach though, because that try that she scored before she went off, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was so well taken. Like, she's coming into some really good form at the minute. She's playing some of the best rugby I've ever seen, and I'm actually gutted for her, like on a personal level, that she can't go out there, because she really is like that one player that keeps stepping up. So yeah, for her personally, like, it's gutting, but I'm sure she'll be like the biggest fangirl there at the weekend.
Yeah, it's really tough, and I think like she will be a massive part now of, her not being there will be a huge part of potentially, the plan that Quinn's had in terms of how they wanted to play the game. I think, loads of us have played against Sarries, and you do have to keep moving them around and being able to get the ball to somebody like her on the edge who is going to continue to take space and take it very quickly, would have been awesome. So yeah, is it like you say, Mo, it's a huge shame for her personally, but also what that now looks like for that potential Quinn squad as well. But they've got some serious pace. I just hope they get it to them. Yeah,
definitely.
So Emily, which way is it going to go?
Oh,
don't sit on the fence.
No, well, that's what I do.
Come on.
I think, all right, fine. I think it's very hard to look past Saracens. I think Quins will give it one hell of a go. I think they'll all believe it, and rightly so. But I think Saracens are just too used to winning, and it's really annoying and irritating, but they're really good at it at the same time. And I think, big players, Poppy, Packer, Bots, the Cleo, all of that lot will step up and just own and dictate what happens to that game. So I think it'll be a tough one for them to lose.
But I'm sure that's how Harlequins want to go into this, isn't it? That, that they don't have the pressure on them, that they can just kind of go out there and give it their best shot. A bit like how, Emily, you guys went into the semi-final against them, going, look, like we get to really take this off them if we win.
Yeah, I think, but then there's also that. There's a pressure on you as well that, for us, we'd made however many semi-finals and not made the final. So it's that pressure of actually, can you go one step further? And for Quins, a big, well-known traditional club like Harlequins been again to however many finals and not quite made it. So I think there's a different kind of pressure, almost like an expectation of actually when is that trophy going to come. So yeah, slightly different point of view, but yeah, I think they are underdogs, despite the fact that they drew earlier in the season. I think they are underdogs, but yeah, sometimes that isn't a bad thing. You just come out swinging, don't you? See what happens, but yeah, it could be spicy.
And they're going to your home ground, Natasha. They're going to Kingsholm. Who'd be more at ease? Who would love playing there more?
I think we haven't played there this season against either, but I know that Harlequins dislike playing us at home more than Saracens do. So potentially Harlequins. I think it's not a firm track, like it's a grass pitch. I think the boys are playing there on Friday, so I'm not sure like how boggy it'll be, dependent on the weather and stuff like that. But I think it will suit Saracens' game more. Like I think they've got the edge up front. For me personally, I think they've got the edge up front, like the players that Scaz was just talking about. Yeah, and then Zoe Harrison's kicking game, like I think her and McKenna, they played so well in the same semi-final in terms of just pinning corners and getting balls running out, and without potentially Jess Breach in the backfield dealing with that. I think yeah, it's going to be a tough day at the office for Harlequins for sure.
Could be a difference, couldn't it? A kicking game like that.
100%.
Because Quins did kick very well at the weekend, but it was more about their short game. So they probably never had that. They didn't have that 50, 60 metre sledgehammer to get themselves right down the field.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Mo. Yeah.
Thank you, Scaz.
First time for everything.
You guys are being very polite, I would say. This is the media trained version of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We have to be. Well, neither of us have made the final. A lot of them are our teammates. It's a very tough
friends,
place to be,
literally.
Yeah, teammates and friends, yeah.
And then you're both going to be there. Who do you party with afterwards?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually.
The winners. I only party with winners. No, I was thinking of doing a barbecue actually. Scaz, I haven't invited you yet, but if you're keen, little barbie in the house after. Yeah.
Outside, you mean?
Yeah, 30 up to 30 outside. Yeah. Don't worry. I thought about it.
I think the normal people we'd party with out of that lot would be like a Packer has the nickname Party Packer, so she inevitably is like first in line for something like that. But yeah, a lot of the girls are good value. Obviously, it will be the end of the season, so I don't think there's many people that wouldn't be up for a party or two or a beer or two, irrelevant of the result. Yeah. We were able to have a few on Saturday night, which was nice. So yeah.
Sarries are on the party bus back, I think. So I'm not sure what Harlequins crack is, but yeah, I think Sarries are straight out of there on the party bus back.
Yeah, it's a tough one at the moment, isn't it? Because you can't just pile into Gloucester City and tear it up. You
probably could. I don't think there's many rules in Gloucester. It's class, but yeah.
It's out in the countryside enough. It's you know, it's kind of like the backyard. So that's cool prospect to look forward to. You guys are both going to be punditing it out with Mike on Saturday. Have you got plans in terms of what you're doing on the day? Can you share more with us yet?
Well, Mo will know more than I will, maybe, but I've got a bit to do with BT Sport, but Mo and
Scaz, a bit to do. Scaz is on co-coms for their final. It's not a bit to do. You're like the main presenter.
Well, it's a bit, isn't it? It's a bit of the day. But yeah, Mo and Tins will be hopefully picking up some interviews, hopefully with Packer, maybe Amy Cocaine, some of the guys from both sides, hopefully giving a bit of an insight into perhaps how their week's gone and whatnot. But yeah, Mo will be taking the reins as the honorary guest. So don't let us down, Mo.
No, I'll do my best. I think it's just like a bit of pre-match chat through and then post-game a few interviews. So yeah, light work. It'll be awesome. It'll just be good to be there, to be honest.
How does preparing for your work this weekend, Emily, differ in terms of how nervous it makes you to playing a knockout game like last weekend?
It's kind of similar, you know, like I suppose the nerves are different, but I definitely get nervous before doing things like that because I think it's still like a relatively not an unknown world, but you just haven't done as much of it. Like the amount of rugby games that, you know, we would have played, you kind of, you're very used to that cycle. You're very used to obviously going out and playing and lots of kind of bigger games and whatnot. But yeah, that world is probably still quite a new one. So, and obviously, like, it's the final, you want to do it justice. There's some unbelievable players that will be out there. Hopefully, you know, the game will speak for itself, but you want to go out there and do it justice and showcase hopefully the very best product that we have, that we're still trying to grow and spread the message to everybody with.
It's so cool that it's going to be live on BT Sport.
Yeah, class.
It's awesome.
So good.
Speaking of media work, Mo, you have been killing it. I mean, when last has someone made such good use of an injury layoff as you did this year? The Nick and Mo show on Instagram, all over the place, just running it. You are certainly setting up to, I mean, very impressive on the pitch, but I have to say that everyone who works in media is looking at you going, well, you know, we'll be out of a job soon. I think Nick actually said as much.
Yeah, I think you're my biggest fangirl. I'm not sure. You and my mum are like probably the two that I've had like the most good feedback from. But no, I really appreciate it. And like I've said a few times, but everyone's been so nice about it. Like everyone's been so lovely, like so genuine, and taken time to like drop messages and just say like how much they're enjoying it. And the same with like what Scaz is saying, like you just want to do the games justice, because like we know how hard it is when you're, a lot of the girls aren't full-time, so they're putting everything in and then they're going and performing to that level, and it's just epic, like the fact that they can do that. So trying to give it justice is really important to me. And yeah, I love it. Like I absolutely love rugby, like love everything about it. So to be like working on it behind a mic and giving an opinion when I'm quite opinionated anyway, like it's really it is really quite humbling, and I genuinely love it. So yeah,
that was awesome insight though, that you know, the Nick and Mo show that you did. I think like when you're talking to a fellow player, it's on a more relaxed environment like an Instagram or a live or something like that. You get to see a bit more of the people, rather than it just being, you know, a very rigid media handbook answer to this, that and the other. It was really real, and it was really nice to be able to, I guess, learn about some of the people that you had on. It must have been fascinating to talk to some of those guys and actually see different perspectives, because quite often, you know, we know a lot of the players in other nations, but sometimes you just get wrapped up in what you're doing and what your camp looks like. So it must have been really, really interesting to have done that.
Oh, it was amazing. I think like the comparison between where the women's game is and where the men's game is, and the access you can have, like how often would you get like an Owen Farrell or someone on the show, like to do an Instagram live the day after a game? Like it's not possible, not even after a Prem game, let alone an international. And a lot of the girls, like obviously know them on a personal level, so a lot of them we just text and be like, fancy coming on, and they were just brilliant with it. But the insight that we got was just amazing. And there was something I was looking at to like get parents of players on and stuff like that, or like siblings, just because I find that stuff really interesting as well, in terms of like the roller coaster that the people closest to us go through on a match day, and how much they want to like hide behind their hands but still support and relish every opportunity that we get. So yeah, it was amazing, and just like hats off to everyone that took the time to come on, because I think it was really special.
Need to get your grandma on, Mo.
Oh, I did think that, right? And she's on Instagram. But by the way, Elma, my grandma's an absolute legend. Like, honestly,
the one who knits.
Yeah, she knits. She makes her own wine. Like, she's just a hero. But yeah, like I did think that, but I didn't know if going on Instagram live would be a step too far. She started reacting to stories now, though. Like, she actually properly gets it. It's awesome. Yeah.
How old is she?
76 or 77. So she's a young grandma, but yeah,
wow.
She still does like trims her own hedge, and like she's a nutter. She's class. So yeah,
she's so good. She's next level. She'll be like brewing the home brew. She's got a full allotment along with your granddad, isn't she? Like jams. Every time you go into the house, there's like counters full of jams and flapjack and wine. She's class, as well as all the knitted items.
Are you industrious like that, Natasha?
Oh, I wouldn't say so, no. Like, Scaz is shaking her head. You can probably answer this more than me, mate. No, I wouldn't say so, no. I don't think I need to be. Like, honestly, she has so much stuff, and every time she'll like pop in or come and do the garden at home or whatever, because I live like about 25 minutes away now, and she's come and helped me with the gardening because she absolutely loves it. But she'll bring like literally like a box of flapjacks or like a box of fairy cakes that she's made, and the girls love it. Like my housemates absolutely adore it. So
she takes orders now, doesn't she, for like beanies and jumpers?
So good. Thing. Yeah.
So why aren't you wearing the jumper that she knitted you,
it's
Emily?
Too hot.
Yeah, it's quite a warm thing. It's very substantial. It's like a December jobby. But it is, and she even puts in the back like a little label. Okay, what does the label say, mate? It's something really cute.
Yeah, it's like hand knitted with love by Barbara Wright. So cute.
So cute.
Yeah. What's her Instagram handle? I need to go store.
Oh, do you actually want it?
I'm literally getting my phone.
If she gets those people though, she'll like have to block them all because she's like, I don't want to see all this stuff. It's Barb, BARBW 414.
Oh, I love the 414 at the end.
She hasn't got a photo or posted anything, but yeah.
Oh
well, I'll help her with that next time.
Okay, so seriously, social media adept granny who knits a lot. Does your family also almost serve as a Google alert for any time anyone mentions you anywhere? When
you say my family, my mum, like, oh my goodness, like it's my mum. And to the point, right? So I had COVID back in, whenever the autumn internationals were, like November. And then I think I caught it from my mum because she, like, through school, whatever. So I ended up isolating at their house because we all had it together. And I had a few stories up. I was sat on the sofa next to my mum and she reacted to like 6 stories in a row. And I was like, Mum, you don't need to put the heart eyes. I'm literally here. Like, come on. But no, she's awesome. Like, she always send me screenshots of stuff that she's found, and she's got like a scrapbook that she'll print out anything. So I think when the time comes when I've retired and stuff like that, it'll be really, really cool to actually sit down and look back through it. And like, it's just awesome that she cares so much to be able to like actually collect it all, because it's not something you do. So I think in years gone by, like, it'll be amazing to sit down and actually look back through it all, because what is it now, like 13 years of collection? So pretty nuts. Yeah.
Your granddad must have a fair collection as well, because he's like that, isn't he?
Yeah. Now my granddad's like the proudest man, bless him. He's got like a little shrine of like photos and stuff of like me playing rugby through the ages. But yeah, I think that's soon going to change. Like, my sisters are pregnant at the minute, so I think I'm like slowly slipping down from the favourite in the family. So we'll see.
Is this the sister who's the baker?
Yes. Yeah. So I've got 2 sisters and they both are.
They're both bakers.
They're both pregnant. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, Christmas with your family must be a carb festival.
Oh, honestly, so good. Like, the macarons is just next level. But yeah,
she's a serious baker as well, isn't she? It's like it's not just like a bit of home stuff. Yeah, it's a job, and they are unreal. Yeah. So give her a shout out, Mo.
Scrumptious Bakes by Emma. The salted caramel macarons, they're like next level. Like, if anyone wants to purchase anything, that would be the go-to, I reckon.
There with the plug. Love
there
it.
You are.
So if we had to create a scrapbook of Mo and Scaz, BFFs forever and ever, where would the scrapbook start? When did the 2 of you meet?
I've actually got our meeting story.
Ooh. Go on.
So it was, I don't know what year it was, 2007, maybe 2007. So we were at it was the England under 20 trial.
I know what you're going to say.
You can have your right of reply in a minute.
This makes you look as bad as me, by the way, before you go.
You can have your right of reply. So like, I've been a part of the England under 19 team the season before, but we had this big like trial day, as you do. So we're basically playing a game. So everyone's just playing a game. And obviously the selectors are selecting or whatever. So Mo and I were on the same team, and we just scored a try. And
Who scored?
Was it you?
I think so, yeah.
Don't remember that part. We just scored, and because I kicked when I was part of the under 19 squad, I think whether I just assumed or I went to take the kick or whatever, and I think someone had brought my tea on or whatever. Anyway, so I was about to take the kick, and Mo comes back past me, and she's like, "Oh, are you all right kicking this? Because I can kick as well if you want." And basically had this little like nudge at me as if to be like, "I want to kick this ball." So that was our first meeting.
It wasn't like that. It was like, I don't mind kicking if you want me to. That was what it was. But Scaz is so big time. She's been like that her whole life. It's like, she expected me to know who she was, and I'd only played rugby about a year, so I didn't know what. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know what else I could do. So funny.
If our grandmas weren't going to watch this, I would reply properly to that. But
yeah,
full of rubbish you are.
This is the family-friendly version of the story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so basically we met a long time ago, but essentially it was playing under 20s together, wasn't it? So that was how we first met.
It's probably the tour when we went away to Canada, spent more time together, and then just like pretty much been besties since, eh?
Going on holiday together.
Yeah,
just
together.
I mean, like literally work besties, basically.
Yeah. And lived, like you said. How long did we live together? Like 4 years, 5 years?
4 or 5 years. So when we joined the Sevens programme and we all moved to London, me, Mo and Katie lived together as a little house. Then we moved and it was me, Mo, Katie and Kay. And then both of them left the programme, so then it was just me and Mo. So yeah, when you were talking earlier about when she said Scaz might be able to answer the question about how much like her grandma she is in terms of being able to make things, that's probably why I would have a decent answer to that. I think although Mo's very capable, I used to do most of the cooking. Mo's the cleaner.
To take over, basically. Scaz preferred cooking, so I always had to clean, basically, is the moral of the story.
But is she also one of those people who really only likes to eat what she makes and like doesn't want to leave the control up to anyone else?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
100%.
She's more picky. You're more picky with it, so it's just easy, like easier life. So I was happy washing up.
I'm so with you. I'm literally, as long as someone else makes it, I don't care what we eat. As long as I don't have to make it, I'll wash all the dishes on earth.
Yeah, to be fair, like it was a bit strange moving out, because then I ended up living with mum and dad again for a little bit while I waited to try and buy a house and like find a house and all of that stuff. And then when I finally moved in on my own, I was like, oh, I actually have to do my life now. Like the bills, Scaz used to sort all the bills out. Like, yeah, it was a bit of a shock to the system, shall we say.
I was the grown up, basically.
Yeah, so you really are the adult in the room. Look at that.
Yeah, who knew, eh?
I think everyone that knows you, mate. Literally.
Okay, so let's go back. So the two of you met, but you started playing rugby quite late, right?
Yeah, so I played a little bit when I was younger, like when I was probably about 14, and played for Drybrook, which was the local club, but I didn't properly take it up until I was 17, 18. So like that year was the year that I got the under 20 trials, and then fortunate enough to get in after that trial game that Scaz alluded to earlier. And then never looked back really, because netball was my main sport before that.
Would you ever play netball again? Are you sometimes tempted?
Yeah, not right now, because there's no time to, but I love all sports. Like there's definitely, like, when the time comes to retire, I think I'll definitely take up something else to keep me active and keep me part of a team, because I love that element of it.
We're the two people that is when you do like different types of training, or I don't know, you go into a sports hall because you're going to do some stretching. We're the ones that are like, there's a basketball net, and like find a basketball. We're like shooting in the corner straight away, or there's like a shuttlecock, so we start playing badminton. Like that's who we are as people. We're just like, there's like a pool table, we're like first on it. We're just like this, basically the sporty kids.
Yeah. That's how we bonded
and get super competitive. Yeah. Exactly.
Over table tennis.
Isn't that also so great though, that you just love competing, you love playing, and both of you are qualified teachers, and I'm sure that's kind of where you want kids who have talent to be until as late as possible, kind of really just trying their hand at everything, giving everything a go, playing as many different things. Or do you think that there is now in this day and age space for kids to start specializing younger, Natasha?
I think it depends on the sport. So obviously sports like gymnastics, they're so young when they actually compete. So like looking at Olympic Games, like the age of the team is so young. So potentially in stuff like that, definitely at a younger age. But for me, as long as possible, do as much as you can, because as soon as you specialize, you don't really get time to do anything else. Because like if you want to be specialized in a certain area or elite in a certain area, it literally takes up your life, because you'll be training 4 times a week plus matches. So for me, it's really important that you try everything. You get like that well-rounded ability, and then you can specialize at a later age.
It's just fun as well, isn't it? Like,
yeah, and that.
Do you know what I mean? I think like I never necessarily went through it, but I know I played tennis when I was younger, and at one point I went from group sessions and I started doing one-on-one sessions. It sapped the fun out of it, because that started to get a bit more serious. It was all about, you know, the outcome of those shots I was hitting, rather than rallying with my friends, getting better that way. And like, I totally get it. And look, elite sport is elite sport, and you look at the stories of the Williams sisters, and you know, they've got to where they got to because of the amount of hard work they put in, their dad driving them, all of that sort of stuff. But I think for me, like, and not speaking on behalf of you, Mo, but we've always done stuff because we love it, and as soon as that goes away, as soon as that stops, like, it's not for me anymore. So I think that has to be at the heart of it. It has to be the driver, and I genuinely believe that's why we've got to where we've got to, because that has been the driver, not anything else. Not, I don't know, fame and fortune, obviously not in our sport, but you know, that's not the driver. It's because,
hey, not for me, but for you.
I was making a serious point then, mate.
sorry. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, it has to be fun, because especially even at the elite level, like, you've got to enjoy what you do, because you literally put your body on the line, and it's emotionally and physically draining, what you do and how to get to that level. So you've got to have fun while you do it.
I've sometimes wonder about that, because I mean, Emily was warning me before we started this conversation that your schedule is so crazy at the moment, and we don't have a lot of time with you. And I said, I can imagine preparing for just the Olympic Games must be pretty intense. Is it sometimes harder to find the fun in elite sport when it is your job, and it's also what you are eating, sleeping, drinking, breathing, thinking? You're so immersed in it.
Yes and no. Like, I think it completely depends on like the drivers within the environment. So for me, coming into this, like, I didn't ever think I'd be here. Like 2 months ago, I was injured. Like, I was basically like not anywhere really. Like, I didn't really have anything to play for with Gloucester Hartbury. And then Scott rang me, the coach, and was like, do you fancy this opportunity, before I got injured? So then it was all about trying to get back, and I think that's completely changed my mindset on it, because I'm just so grateful to be here, like, genuinely, hand on heart, like, just so happy to be running around with the girls. Like, it's an unbelievable group of girls. It's so nice and so refreshing training with like people that I've never played with before. So the Scots, the Welsh girls, just how we all gel as a group. Like, and also there's been a huge emphasis, not put on us at all, but just the girls really like bond in the downtime. So we only probably get about 3 hours of downtime a day, but we're always playing cards, or we're playing tuk-tuk, or we had a little jam, like a little band practice earlier. Like, Rona bought her ukulele, there's a drum box, and we were just sat in the corridor singing, socially distanced with masks on, obviously. But little stuff like that just makes such a difference. And I think like the buy-in and the emphasis from all of the girls on that, it still makes it fun. And then when you go on the pitch, you're enjoying it because you enjoy the company of those around you. So yeah, like, dependent on the environment, because I've had times where I've not enjoyed it so much, but again, similar to Gloucester Hartbury, like, I love it. Like, I still feel challenged, and that's my enjoyment, when I feel challenged, when I feel like I'm getting better.
I think we're fortunate quite a lot of the time in a sport like rugby, you know, the culture and the traditions that follow it, you know, that all that off-field stuff. Obviously this year has been incredibly hard with that, but generally a rugby squad is quite a special group of people. It's often not a forgiving place to be, but actually it's fun, and that's what makes it fun. Yes, you know, things aren't always going to be perfect on the field, and it's going to be hard, and you know, you'll disagree with people, or you might not get selected, but actually the group of girls, and all that stuff that you can do off the field, and just, you know, get stuck into someone, or in a very nice way, banter. That, like, that's the bit that makes it fun, and that's the bit that quite often is, you know, the main reason why you end up carrying on doing stuff. Obviously you've got to love what you do on the field as well, but sometimes that's always the tough bit.
So you're in a GB7 setup now with players from the home nations. You've just mentioned that it's a bit like being selected for the Lions, because you're representing your country, but you're also representing something a lot bigger than that. And with the upheaval of the last year, I know that the last time out at the Olympics, you guys lost your bronze medal playoff, right? What is the mission? Is it just we're going for gold at the moment?
Yeah, 100%. Like, going for gold. Like, that's literally like been spoken about the whole time. Like that's what it is. But also like creating a legacy and leaving the game in a better place. So really important that's like also a side note that actually what we're doing is bigger than this and this journey. It's actually like for what comes after as well.
I think the prospect this time round is a really exciting one. Again, for somebody who's not in it, kind of removed from it. I think like last time round, obviously we'd played in the 7 series. It was a long drawn out process, whereas actually this time round it is smash and grab because of the nature of COVID, because of the nature of, you know, the contracts and everything that's gone on this year. It's literally throw yourself into it, give it as big a crack as you possibly can and see what happens. And I think, you know, New Zealand, Australia played over the weekend, didn't they, in a little sevens tournament. You guys obviously played France and Ireland the other week. I think everybody has had struggles this last year in terms of the ability to play or lack of playing. And I think it really levels the playing field. I think it means that everybody's going there. And we all know the nature of sevens. Anybody can win and lose any one of those games, and that's why I think it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited.
But and even more so, like it's even more open. It's even more unknown than it would normally be. What are you most looking forward to in Japan?
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to Japan, by the way.
Okay.
But I think so for me, like just putting it out there, like obviously it would be unbelievable too, but I feel like I've snuck in the back door anyway, and I'm genuinely so grateful to be here that I just want the best 12 to go, and to whatever that is, to go and achieve our goal. Like, and I'm wholeheartedly bought into that. I think for the girls it's going to be a super different environment in terms of like obviously in Rio, like we were out there for a while. We had base camp, which was awesome, like with so Team GB put us up in like a different place with the athletics and the swimming team, just to get acclimatized before we flew into the village. But just the whole experience, like it was unbelievable, wasn't it? Like just the sheer like scale of it, I don't think you can appreciate until you're there. And that was just the most like eye-opening experience for me. Like stood on that balcony watching everyone leave for the opening ceremony, which we couldn't go to because we had a game the next day. That was just like, what are we about to do? Like, this is nuts. Like we spent our whole lives, like both of us sporty, like grew up watching it, and actually like to be there and to be able to compete and say like actually we're Olympians is just, oh, honestly still gives goosebumps. So yeah, nuts.
The other thing that always excites me about this, and I don't know whether it will end up being different this time around or not, but is kitting out day.
Oh yeah, no, it's the same.
Kitting out day is unbelievable.
Yeah,
like was it Birmingham? So we were all based in London. We drove up to Birmingham on a bus, and you literally arrive, and it is like, well, I think it was at the NEC, so it's just this enormous place, and you literally just everywhere's sponsored. So there's like, I can't remember all the sponsors, but they all had their own almost little stand or store where they're just giving you freebies, and they weren't just like normal freebies. We're talking like headphones, like proper jobs, not just like key rings and stuff. They were proper jobs. And then you go walk your way around all the actual kit, and it's ridiculous, wasn't it? I don't even know how to explain it.
We had like a personal shopper each, and then they would like, you'd go, they were like Team GB, I think it's on my Twitter or something, but there's like Team GB curtains where you'd go in and get changed. So there was like the opening ceremony, closing ceremony outfit, then you'd walk through and it would be like your leisure wear, so comfy joggers, hoodies, that stuff, and you try everything on, and your personal shopper would make a note of the sizes, and then you'd go through to like your actual kit. So we got to see what the shirts were like, try those on. Scaz struggled with short size, but that's a whole nother story. And then like there's the really cool like photos where they go above head, where you can wear your kit and have like a little look at that. And then your personal shopper goes and gets all of your stuff. They literally scan through everything. And I remember,
like a checkout, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and on the checkout, my personal shopper was like, I can't remember their name, I feel really bad about it, but they were like tubs of hand gel, and she was literally like, take it all, it's free, take it, and literally getting like tubs of hand gel, just putting it through this checkout.
How good though, because I still had tubs of hand gel left for COVID, and it was perfect.
No, so did I. How nuts! Like literally like 5 years on. But it's just unbelievable. Like the whole experience, and Team GB do it so well. Like they really make you feel part of something really special and so much bigger than what it is, which is what it should be. And I can't even talk about it. Like it's just nuts. Yeah.
I didn't know that being an Olympian came with a lifetime supply of sanitizer.
Well, we're nearly out now, but if it wasn't for COVID.
Bonus fact. Okay, so if you're running short, or well, at least Mo, you can hook up your teammates on that side. How grueling has it been to get back into training, and not just training, sevens training?
Oh, you know what? Like, I've been managed up to this point because of my ankle. So last week we played some tournaments in St George's Park, and I played there were three days. So we played day 1, day 2, day 3. I missed day 2, so my lungs were all right. I was only allowed half a game each time I played, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm actually okay, not too bad. Today, completely different story. So we've not got any subs for playmakers at the minute. So we've just done 4 7-minutes like back to back. So we did like 14 minutes with a 2-minute break in the middle, like a normal game. Then we had 5 minutes rest, and then we went like 14 minutes again. And honestly, I like got to dinner, which was about like half an hour ago, and I was just like, I can't even eat. Like, I was so tired. But no, it's awesome. Like, it's wicked, and the girls like really drive you on. Like, you're playing for an unbelievable thing. So it's just class. Like, my lungs aren't there yet, and my legs aren't there yet, but they're definitely catching me up. So we'll see.
To people who have never played sevens, when you describe it to people, especially people who perhaps don't understand rugby, they just don't understand how playing a sport for 14 minutes with a gap in the middle could be at all tiring. But it is the most unbelievable feeling. Unbelievable probably isn't the right word. Sickening feeling that you ever have from physical activities. Unbelievable.
You're literally running your fastest and trying to hit things as hard as you can or break the line for like that whole time. But I just love that battle though, that mental, like, I have to keep running. Like, I feel like I can't run, but I have to keep running. Like, I love that little switch in your head that you have to go to. So for me, it's been really nice. Like, it's actually been so refreshing, like having that again and just being like, right, let's go. We've to lose. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
And I mean, obviously attacking in sevens is a lot of fun because of the amount of space, but the defense is the thing that freaks me out the most when I watch it. As soon as the team that I'm supporting is on the defense, I'm just like, I can't look.
Yeah, I think
because
Scaz
the pitch is so big.
Oh, honestly. So I think that it's not too bad, like when you've got 7 on feet, but I think Scaz will probably be better to explain this. But when there's like a scrum or a line out, and as a centre, which is what she used to play, you're just sat in the middle with like the fastest people. You used to hate it, didn't you, mate?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like, I'm not built to play sevens, full stop. And I was definitely not built to be a centre in sevens. So towards the end of my sevens career, I became a prop, which was far more suited to my physical attributes, shall we say. But yeah, you think there's like a sideline scrum or a sideline, obviously a line out, and then you've got 3 people defending the rest of the field, 3v3. And in the middle, obviously, you've got to do a bit of helping them and a bit of helping them. And generally, the rest of the world had some of their best, most potent players in that role. So the likes of Kayla McAllister years ago when I was playing centre, I was like, I know she's going to step off her left foot. And then she steps off her left foot and she still makes it 10 metres past me, even though I knew it was coming. I was prepared for it and I'd sort of waited. So yeah, I mean, it's just, it's different gravy. It's those athletes are next level.
Yeah. Proper.
So for the rest of us who are not across what's happening in the sevens in the lead up to the Olympic Games, who are the teams that you guys are expecting the sternest challenge from based on what you know right now?
I think on form, I think like Scaz was saying, like the slate's wiped clean because nobody's played sevens for 14 months. So like it's anyone's guess because you can turn up on the day, like there could be a bounce of the ball that goes in the hands of someone else and that's the game, or like a rest decision that goes the other way when it's like touch and go because the breakdown's so loose that like literally it's just, you can't call it, I don't think. But on form from previous years, I think New Zealand, Australia have obviously been very, very good. Canada would probably be up there. Like anyone though, USA, do you know what I mean? Like,
I think that's the brilliant thing is you can't call it, despite the fact you gave me stick for sitting on the fence earlier. But I think the other really interesting thing is, like teams like France who came close to, if not won certain legs of the series when it was on last year or year before, aren't even qualified yet. And Russia, who finished 5th, 6th in the world, they're not qualified for the Olympics yet. They've got to go to the repechage in a couple of weeks' time and actually earn their place against I'm not sure however many other teams, 8 other teams that are also trying to do the same thing. So I think that is like a mini battle in itself, which is, again, as a total neutral, fascinating.
Yeah, 100%.
You almost have to wonder if coming through that repechage, having to compete, and then coming into the Olympics would be almost preferable this year, only because there hasn't been that much opportunity to play at, you know, at that kind of make or break intensity.
Level. Yeah, no, it's a really good point, to be fair. And like, we played France last weekend and they're looking good, they're looking strong. But as you say, like, you can't really prepare for anything that's like that knockout rugby unless you're in knockout rugby. So yeah, it might stand them in really good stead leading into it, because I'm sure they'll come out of it qualified. Like the form they're in and the teams that they're competing against, like there's no shadow of a doubt that they should be in the mix.
The other thing as well, though, is that everything that they've been doing is geared around Olympic selection. So actually, if and when, you say, Mo, I've no doubts that they'll get it. If and when you get that, are you then like, and then you've got to go to the Olympics? Do you know what I mean? It's almost like that has been our goal, that has been our focus. Everything we, you know, the pressure of qualifying for the Olympic Games, that actually they haven't really thought about the Olympics yet, maybe. I don't know. I suppose there's always two mentalities to things like that. But yeah, I definitely expect France to go. They look strong, like you say.
And I mean, I do radio sport in the mornings, and I'm reading reports every day that seem to kind of call into question, will it, won't it? Is there still going to be, like, is there even a vague possibility of these games not going ahead? How much do you guys pay attention to that? Is it like background noise? It's almost like it's not even happening. I mean, how much do you read? How tuned into that stuff are you when you're busy on a daily basis with the business of trying to prepare for this thing?
Honestly, not at all. Like, the first I heard of it was my mum said last week that 80% of the Japanese population don't want it to go ahead, and there's only 20% that do. And they were like, have you had any chat at all? But we've had nothing. Like, and I think that's the way that it has to be, because at the end of the day, like, you don't want that in the background, like, oh, is this even going to be a thing? Because at the minute is all you're focusing on is every pitch session being as good as you can be, and every time you take the field, making sure we come off it in a better place than when we went on it. So I know it's super cliche, but it is, like, and we've genuinely not spoken about it as a group at all. So fingers crossed that that's not going to be the case and it actually does go ahead, but we'll see. Yeah, if not, it's been a hell of a ride, and I've got a hell of a game out of it called Tuk Tuk. So
and a few friends in the home nations. But Emily, I mean, you recently played a final, which you won. So you know exactly what the players preparing for this weekend's Allianz Premier 15s final is going through, sort of. What is that pressure like? And give us an insight of what the player experience is going into tomorrow.
Yeah, it's I think, like we say, it's a culmination of the entire year. I think especially for teams like Saracens and Harlequins, this has always been their focus. This has always been the end goal for them. They will only talk about, you know, the final and wanting to win and stuff. So it's high pressure. It really is. As we say, Saracens will expect to do another one, and Harlequins will want to make it their year. So yeah, it's just, again, super cliche, but it's whoever can pull it out on the day, whoever can control that momentum, control the territory, and I suppose stick to their plan, because they'll both try to formulate plans that they think will be able to beat the other side.
But I guess, Natasha, before we say goodbye to you, there's also not that much you can change going into a final. I guess, you know, you can make as many plans, but you're also at this point in the season now where you just kind of have to go out there and give the best account of the work you've done until now.
100%. I just want to touch on how good a BT Sport answer that was, Scaz. I think you're well prepped for the weekend. No, 100%. And I think that's the thing now. I think in the last two finals, Saracens have had the upper hand in terms of controlling those momentum swings and staying on top of teams. And I think Zoe Harrison's been brilliant in both of them, leading the side from the front. So it's how they can control that. Obviously, you've got external factors like the weather, how the pitch is, because it's a wide pitch at Kingsholm, how that's going to play into each other's hands. And yeah, it's super exciting. Like everyone wants to be in a position. Like I'm gutted as a squad that we couldn't get to the semis and give ourselves a shot to play at a home final, because it would have been amazing. But it'll be awesome for the girls. Like it's an unbelievable like thing to be part of, and good luck to both sets of sides going into it.
Oh, momentous occasion. Thank you so much for joining us, Natasha Hunt. We'll let you get on with the serious of business of preparing for an Olympic Games.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys.
So we will see you at Kingsholm for the Allianz Premier 15s final on Saturday. Mo, Scaz and Tins will be there for us. You can watch it live on BT Sport and enjoy all of Emily Scarrett's amazing insights on there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be worth your while. You can stream it on the Premier 15s platforms as well. And this is the last episode in the current series of The Good, the Scaz and the Rugby, brought to you by Allianz. We'll be back soon enough. It's been so good. We've heard some amazing stories from women across sport. Emily, have you got a favorite, obviously outside of Mo?
Outside of Mo, yeah. You know, I really enjoyed listening to Shannon Courtney. I think that was probably one of my favorites. If I'm honest, I didn't know a huge amount about her. Totally different world to obviously the one that I'm in. But yeah, I think we've covered some really good, interesting, touching, tough topics along the way. So I've just really enjoyed listening to other sports people's opinions, their journeys, all of that sort of stuff. It's a world I find really interesting. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, make sure you go catch up. If you missed any of our episodes, that are available on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts. We'll see you soon.